Hi, third grade. Welcome to week 3 of virtual learning. I know this has been a challenge for you guys. It's been a challenge for me too. Sorry, you guys. So there are a few things that I want to talk about before I discuss what this week's lesson is going to be about. Not sure if your parents have told you or not, but this week we are going to be doing things a little bit different. We are going to be having our regular YouTube lesson on Mondays, but on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a Zoom lesson every Wednesday for the rest of the school year, teaching you guys that way too. That way it can kind of be a little bit more interactive where we can see you and you can see us. Now, there are going to be some things that are a little challenging. For instance, you guys know that there are 3 third grade classes, and all 3 classes are going to be in the same Zoom session. So it's going to be a lot of students. So that's going to be a challenge all by itself, us trying to teach so many students all at once. We are going to have a parent meeting with your parents on Monday. Please tell them to check their email, their text messages, or the class dojo. Those are the ways that we've sent out the information. So we can kind of go over with your parents everything that we're going to be doing from now on and how it's going to look. That way they can have a discussion with you all, and you'll kind of get a better feel for how the rest of the school year is going to be. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I know we can do it. You guys are bright students. We're bright teachers. And we're going to get through this together. So this week, what I'm going to do is for YouTube, the YouTube lessons, I'm going to keep doing our read aloud. So we'll go back and forth between Because of Winn-Dixie and One Crazy Summer. And then on Wednesdays, I'll teach you guys a lesson as if we were like in class. Now, we're not going to be in class, so things are still going to be a little bit different, and we got to work out all the kinks, but like I said, we'll get through it. What else did I want to tell you guys? I miss you. I'm so sad that we won't be able to see each other in person to kind of say our goodbyes for the summer, but it is what it is at this point. We're going to do the best that we can with this virtual online school, and hopefully it'll kind of feel a little bit like normal. This week we are back to Because of Winn-Dixie, and wait until you guys see what Opal gets herself into today. She kind of reminds me of maybe like a Junie B. Jones or a Ramona, always getting into something. But it's a really, really good chapter. I hope you guys pay attention. I hope that you enjoy it. Of course, we're going to go over some vocabulary words first, and then we're going to read the story. Only 1 chapter today because it's a little bit lengthy. So we'll do 1 chapter and then go into the assignment. Today's assignment is all about author's purpose. What was the purpose or the reason or the intention of the author when he wrote this chapter of the book? We'll get more into that as the video goes on. If you ever have any questions, please tell your parents, do not hesitate to contact me either by email or by text message. All my information should be out there. So get in touch with me, send me a video, send me a voice message, whatever you all want to do. I do miss you guys very, very much, and I am looking forward to our Zoom sessions. Parents, I'm looking forward to meeting with you all on Monday. There are 2 sessions, 11 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock p.m. You only need to attend 1, but please plan on logging into one of those so that we can answer all of your questions and let you know what's happening with our online instruction. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the lesson. Talk to you later. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our vocabulary words for this read aloud. Today we have 4 vocabulary words. We're going to do the same thing that we did last week with these vocabulary words. Instead of just saying them out loud to someone, you're actually going to go ahead and write them in sentences on paper. We're going to go ahead and begin with our first word. The word is croaked. You should all know what that red suffix means at the end by now because we've been seeing that a lot lately. ED, what does it mean? Hopefully you said that it means something happened in the past because that's exactly right. So the word croaked means to make a deep, rough, harsh sound. For example, Renea's pet frog croaked when he saw flies buzzing by. Moving on to word number 2. Again, we have a suffix, but this time it's not an ED, it's an ING. So if ED means it happened in the past, what do you think ING means? I'm hoping you said that it means it's happening now or in the present because that's correct. Slithering is our word. Slithering means to move smoothly over a surface with a twisting motion. Here's your example. The snake went slithering away when Zaira put it down on the ground. Word number 3. Here we don't have any suffixes, so we just have a base word. The word is theme. A theme is a particular setting or atmosphere of a place or activity. The example is, the theme of Anaya's birthday party was purple butterflies. And lastly, we have charming. Again, you'll see an ing suffix, which means it's happening right now or in the present. Charming means to delight or please someone by being extremely pleasant, attractive, polite, friendly, or likable. Your example is, Boubacar is a charming student because he always offers to help his classmates. At the end of this lesson, please do not forget to go ahead and use or write these 4 vocabulary words in complete sentences. Again, it would be nice if you try and put them into a story format, but if not, just go ahead and number your paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. Write the word and then try and use it in a complete sentence. I did receive some emails from some students handing in your work, but not all. So I'm hoping this week, it's only 4 words, you guys. I'm hoping this week that they go ahead and get sent to me by having your parents email them to my email address. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into chapter 12 of Because of Winn-Dixie. Me and Winn-Dixie got to Gertrude's Pets so early for my first day of work that the close sign was still in the window. But when I pushed on the door, it swung open. And so we went on inside. I was about to call out to Otis that we were there, but then I heard music. It was the prettiest music I have ever heard in my life. I looked around to see where it was coming from. And that's when I noticed that all the animals were out of their cages. There were rabbits and hamsters and gerbils and mice and birds and lizards and snakes. And they were all just sitting there on the floor like they had turned to stone. And Otis was standing in the middle of them. He was playing a guitar and he had on skinny, pointy-toed cowboy boots. And he was tapping them while he was playing the music. His eyes were closed and he was smiling. Winn-Dixie got a dreamy kind of look on his face. He smiled really hard at Otis, and then he sneezed, and then his whiskers went all fuzzy, and then he sighed and kind of dropped to the floor with all the other animals. Just then, Gertrude caught sight of Winn-Dixie. "Dog!" she croaked and flew over and landed on his head. Otis looked up at me. He stopped playing his guitar and the spell was broken. The rabbits started hopping and the birds started flying and the lizards started leaping and the snakes started slithering and Winn-Dixie started barking and chasing everything that was moving. And Otis shouted, "Help me!" For what seemed like a long time, me and Otis ran around trying to catch mice and gerbils and hamsters and snakes and lizards. We kept on bumping into each other and tripping over the animals. And Gertrude kept screaming, "Dog! Dog!" Every time I caught something, I put it back in the first cage I saw. I didn't care if it was the right cage or not. I just put it in and slammed the door. And the whole time I was chasing things, I was thinking that Otis must be some kind of snake charmer, the way he could play his guitar and make all the animals turn to stone. And then I thought, this is silly. I shouted over Winn-Dixie barking and Gertrude yelling. I said, play some more music, Otis. He looked at me for a minute. Then he started playing his guitar, and in just a few seconds, everything was quiet. Winn-Dixie was lying on the floor, blinking his eyes and smiling to himself and sneezing every now and then. And the mice and the gerbils and the rabbits and the lizards and the snakes that we hadn't caught yet got quiet and sat still. And I picked them up one by one and put them back in their cages. When I was all done, Otis stopped playing. He looked down at his boots. I was just playing them some music. It makes them happy. Yes, sir, I said. Did they escape from their cages? No, Otis said. I take them out. I feel sorry for them being locked up all the time. I know what it's like being locked up. You do? I said. I have been in jail, Otis said. He looked up at me real quick and then looked back down at his boots. You have? I said. Never mind, said Otis. Aren't you here to sweep the floor? Yes, sir, I told him. He walked over to the counter and started digging through a pile of things, and finally he came up with the broom. Here, he said, you should start sweeping. Only he must have gotten confused. He was holding out his guitar to me instead of the broom. With your guitar? I asked. He blushed and handed me the broom, and I started to work. I am a good sweeper. I swept the whole store and then dusted some of the shelves. The whole time I worked, Winn-Dixie followed me, and Gertrude followed him, flying behind him and sitting on his head and his back and croaking real quiet to herself. Dog, dog. When I was done, Otis thanked me. I left Gertrude's pets thinking about how the preacher probably wouldn't like it very much that I was working for a criminal. Sweetie Pie Thomas was waiting for me right out front. I seen that, she said. She stood there and sucked on her knuckle and stared at me. Seen what? I said. I seen all them animals out of their cages and keeping real still. Is that man magic? She asked. Kind of, I told her. She hugged Winn-Dixie around the neck. Just like this grocery store dog, right? Right, I said. I started walking, and Sweetie Pie took her knuckle out of her mouth and put her hand in mine. Are you coming to my birthday party? She asked. I surely am, I told her. The theme is pink, she said. I know it, I told her. I gotta go, she said all of a sudden. I gotta go home and tell my mama about what I seen. I live right down there in that yellow house. That's my mama on the porch. You see her? She's waving at you. I waved at the woman on the porch, and she waved back, and I watched Sweetie Pie run off to tell her mama about Otis being a magic man. It made me think about my mama and how I wanted to tell her the story about Otis charming all the animals. I was collecting stories for her. I would also tell her about Miss Franny and the bear, and about meeting Gloria Dump and believing for just a minute that she was a witch. I had a feeling that these were the kind of stories my mama would like, the kind that would make her laugh out loud, the way the preacher said she liked to laugh. I hope you guys enjoyed the story or this week's chapter of Because of Winn-Dixie. And now we're going to get to the part where we are going to have our written assignment to go along with the story that we just read. Today's assignment is going to focus on the author's purpose. What was the author's intention of writing this particular chapter? Here is the worksheet that I am going to use for my example for you guys. As you'll see, there are 3 columns listed here. The first column says to persuade. That means to try and get someone to do something that you want them to do. So maybe their mind is not made up, or maybe their mind is made up, but you are going to try and change their mind and get them to do something different. The next column is to inform. Now, you'll notice that the word inform sounds a lot like and looks a lot like the word information, and that's exactly what it is. It means that you are just giving someone information that they can use. And the last column is entertain. So here, the author's purpose is just to entertain someone, to make them laugh, to make them smile, to make them enjoy themselves, to make them feel happy about something. That's what entertain does. So now we have to decide, what was the author's purpose in writing this chapter? And it could be more than one reason. It does not always have to be just persuade or just to inform or just to entertain. It could be one or more than one. You have to decide. Of course, I'm going to give you an example. I just read a how-to book that taught me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I thought it was very interesting because it gave some pointers and tips that I may not have thought to do on my own. So if I'm looking at this sheet, I need to figure out if the author of that story was trying to persuade me, to inform me, or to entertain me. I'm going to start with column 1 and figure out if there was any way this author was trying to persuade my decision about making the sandwich. And yes, the author was trying to persuade me. He gave lots of reasons why peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are yummy for your tummy. So even if I was in the mood for, let's say, a bowl of cereal, well, after reading this book, now he has persuaded me to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead. So in this first box under persuade, I would list the reasons that the author gave why you should eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He talked about how gooey the jelly is and how the sweetness of the peanut butter matches the jelly perfectly. He also talked about how simple it is to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it's something that I could pretty much do on my own. I don't really need a lot of adult help. So that persuaded me to go ahead and try to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich on my own. Now, there may be other reasons, and you would list them here if he was trying to persuade you in any other type of way. The next column, inform. Well, absolutely. This is a how-to book. So, of course, it's informing me how to do something. So in these boxes, I'm going to list all of the steps that the author taught me how to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. In box 1, I might put, he says to take 1 slice of bread, to take my butter knife and spread the peanut butter on that 1 slice. Step 2 was to take another slice of bread and spread my jelly on that side. And then I would just go ahead and list the rest of those steps under inform. And the last box, entertain. Was this author trying to entertain me, make me happy, make me laugh, make me cry, make me smile, make me feel good about myself? Yes, he did, because at the end of the story, when he went to go eat his peanut butter and jelly sandwich, he made such a mess, and jelly and peanut butter were all over his hands, his face. He was laughing and trying to make me enjoy watching him make a mess out of his sandwich. So I was entertained. So here in this box under entertain, I would just list the fact that this author made such a big mess and thought that it was funny. And I also found it funny. So you guys are going to use this sheet. Of course, you don't have the paper in front of you, but you can go ahead and draw your own boxes on your paper. And you're going to use chapter 12 of Because of Winn-Dixie, the one that I just read. And you are going to tell me how the author or what the author's purpose was. Was there anything in this chapter that persuaded you to do something? Was there anything in this chapter that informed you of something? And was there anything in this chapter that entertained you? Go ahead and fill in those boxes and have your parents email me your work, and I will check to see all of your awesome, bright ideas and see how well you did with understanding the author's purpose of chapter 12 in Because of Winn-Dixie. All right, you guys, that is it for today's read aloud. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you guys are hard at work. Please do not forget that Wednesday, we will be starting our Zoom lessons. Class will be beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. Please do not forget to log in, have your pencil and paper ready, and come prepared to learn. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. See you soon.